I try to avoid that, but I think it's unavoidable.
You know, I can't do this forever. I've been doing it since I was 21. As you move into your 80s, you say, hey, that's enough.
Horse Whisper Ranch. Robert Redford's ranch lies nestled in the vast Heber Valley of Utah, where the stoic Timpanogos Range rises beautiful as a dream woven into reality. The dawn's golden light gilds the dew-kissed meadows where spirited horses gallop, kicking up dust like smoke, their hoofbeats echoing against the cliffs, blending with the wind whistling through ancient pines, creating an endless symphony of the Wild West. Under the crystal-clear sky, Redford's wooden cabin stands humbly amidst the wilderness, small yet strangely captivating, as if it harbors an untold story within its walls. For Redford, Horse Whisper Ranch is not merely a refuge from Hollywood's glaring spotlight. It is another world where he sheds every role, every mask to listen to his true self. But rumors whisper that behind its serene, almost silent tranquility lies a secret that makes all of Hollywood hold its breath. For when night falls, the ranch is not only filled with the neighing of horses or the wind rustling through the pines, but also with laughter, the groans of men, and the sound of doors closed to all but a chosen few. Is Horse Whisper Ranch a solitary paradise or a Pandora's box concealing Robert Redford's second life? All answers await in the video. Robert Redford entered the world of art through the stage where golden spotlights illuminated the face of a young man with bright eyes and confident charisma. In 1963, embodying Paul Bratter and Neil Simon's romantic comedy Barefoot in the Park, Redford set Broadway's auditorium ablaze. Every line he delivered sparked laughter, then hushed the audience with his natural charm laced with a touch of mischief. After just one role, Redford was hailed as America's promising new face, and Hollywood promptly flung open its golden gates to welcome him. From that moment, a star with the radiant beauty of a western sunset began a journey to redefine the archetype of the leading man on the silver screen. By the late 1960s, Redford left the stage to pursue his cinematic dreams. And then, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969, arrived like fate ordained. Starring alongside Paul Newman, Redford became the Sundance Kid a cold, clever, and irresistibly charismatic outlaw. The film became a global phenomenon, transforming him from a promising actor into an icon of a new generation of Hollywood masculinity. Henceforth, the name Robert Redford was synonymous with a perfect blend of classic poise and free-spirited allure, the kind of man the world couldn't take its eyes off. Success followed with his reunion with Newman in The Sting 1973, a masterpiece that earned Redford an Oscar nomination for Best Actor and solidified his status as an A-list star. But Redford was never content to merely stand before the camera. He yearned to shape stories from behind it, and in 1980, Ordinary People marked a turning point, earning him the Oscar for Best Director. That quiet, haunting, yet profoundly humane film proved Redford was not just a handsome face on screen, but a masterful storyteller. From Out of Africa, 1985, to A River Runs Through It, 1992, he continued to build his own artistic empire. Redford's cinema is a blend of poetry, realism, and deep humanism. After over 6 decades in the industry, Redford became a living legend. He was awarded the National Medal of Arts, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, America's highest civilian honor, and countless Lifetime Achievement Awards. Yet his greatest legacy lies not in golden statues, but in the Sundance Institute and Sundance Film Festival, where he has given opportunities to thousands of independent filmmakers worldwide. To the public, Redford is not merely an actor or director, but the soul of modern American cinema, a guardian of art's flame in an era of commercialization. Yet behind the glamour, Robert Redford found his truest self not in Hollywood, but in Utah's mountains in the Heber Valley, where Horse Whisper Ranch lies hidden like a raw gem. Against a crystal-clear sky, the majestic Timpanogos Range stretches in the distance, and lush green meadows embrace the ranch, a vivid portrait of the West he brought to the screen. As dusk falls, the day's final sunlight bathes the maple forest in gold, creating a scene as if painted by Redford's own cinematic hand. He calls it the House of Horses, not just for the sprawling stables or the herds galloping across the fields, but because the free spirit of the horse mirrors his own unbound, untamed, and full of longing. When he bought the ranch in 1996, Redford didn't turn it into a lavish estate, but preserved its century-old wooden cabin, 2 bedrooms, a living room, with a stone fireplace, rustic and cozy. There he sets aside fame living as an ordinary man with nature horses and absolute silence. Surrounding the ranch is a landscape that leaves anyone in awe. The Provo River winds through the valley like a silver ribbon. Deer Creek Lake reflects sunlight like thousands of sparkling jewels. In winter, snow blankets the roof in pristine white. In autumn, maple leaves blaze red like fire, everything so beautiful it could be a frame from a romantic film directed by Redford himself. There he needs no script, no spotlights, only the sound of hooves and the whisper of wind through the pines. Horse Whisper Ranch is where Robert Redford finds the truest part of himself after a lifetime between Hollywood's light and shadow. Yet in that Utah ranch hidden behind its peaceful veneer, fans still whisper that Redford keeps secrets Hollywood has never touched. It is not merely a luxurious retreat, but an utterly private domain where Redford erects invisible walls to separate his family from his hidden world. His wife and children almost never set foot there, as if an unspoken ban governs the place one Redford strictly upholds. Neighbors have often noticed that when Redford's car appears on the road leading into the Heber Valley, he is always alone. No wife, no children, no trace of family. It's said that on long weekends, Redford quietly drives from the city to the ranch, his car gliding through the pines at night as if entering a parallel world. While to the public, Redford is a family man, an exemplar of virtue at Horse Whisper Ranch. He chooses solitude or opens the door only to those he selects. Rumors arose when familiar Hollywood faces were spotted quietly visiting. Men close to him, Paul Newman, Sidney Pollack, Bob Woodward, Nick Nolte, all brought by Redford to Utah far from the cameras and paparazzi. Some claim they came to relax, discuss scripts, or find inspiration. But others whisper those visits felt more like clandestine rendezvous than artistic meetings. Most shocking, though, is Newman said to be Redford's secret lover for years. Throughout the 1970s, Newman was seen at the ranch so often that locals grew familiar with his face. They say Redford would personally drive to the gate to greet his friend, then disappear with Newman into the main house. Whenever Newman came, the whole atmosphere changed. Redford became a different person, lighter, younger, as if only with Newman could he truly live, a neighbor recalled. There were long nights when a neighbor inadvertently glimpsed the glow of a campfire flickering against the pitch-black sky from Redford's ranch. Drawing closer, he saw Newman and Redford sitting close together, wine glasses in hand, their chuckles echoing through the silent mountains. And then, in a moment that seemed almost unbelievable, the two men embraced as if oblivious to the world around them. It wasn't an ordinary friendship. It was something entirely different. The neighbor emphasized his voice, a mix of a whisper and a tremble, as if afraid of the words he uttered. One winter night in 1982, someone claimed to have witnessed an unforgettable scene: Redford and Newman standing on the porch, snow falling in a white veil, both wrapped tightly in a large blanket, kissing passionately. That image, though, only a tale passed by word of mouth, haunted those who heard it for decades. A local reporter during a secretive stakeout even claimed to have captured a shocking photograph Redford and Newman stepping out of the ranch's main house at dawn, hair-disheveled shirts loosely draped over their shoulders. Both avoided the camera, their eyes darting away as if caught in a truth they didn't want exposed. Strangely, that photo never appeared in any publication, as if an invisible hand had intervened to bury it all. It didn't stop there. A former ranch worker once swore he heard music and laughter ringing through the night from the wooden cabin next to the carpentry shop. Curiosity drew him closer, and he caught sight of Newman and Redford dancing in candlelight, holding each other like lovers without a hint of restraint. The man quit soon after, but he never forgot the scene he described as the biggest shock of my life. Other rumors suggested Redford hosted uninhibited evenings where wine music and intimate gestures transcended any conventional definition of friendship. Neighbors recounted seeing Newman arrive at the ranch late at night, only to join Redford by the Provo River the next morning, sitting together for hours, sometimes with an arm around each other, sometimes whispering something deeply personal. Sidney Pollack, a close friend and director, was also frequently spotted driving to the ranch on weekends. They would lock themselves in the carpentry shop for hours, doors shut, lights burning late into the night. Locals called it the secret room, a place no one else was allowed to enter. Rumors spread Redford and Pollack shared more than a creative bond, a connection that crossed ordinary boundaries. Then there was Bob Woodward, the famed journalist Redford once portrayed on screen, who often stayed for days at a time. They were seen strolling through the meadows arm in arm like old friends. But as night fell, dimly lit, windows revealed the silhouettes of two men embracing in silence. He didn't hide as much as people might think, one witness asserted. Rumors of Redford's male lovers persisted. Nick Nolte, the rugged, intense screen star, turned out to be among Redford's special guests. Town staff whispered that Nolte and Redford often visited a local bar, returning to the ranch drunk, arms slung over each other's shoulders, laughing and murmuring. One even claimed to have heard music echoing from the ranch at night, accompanied by laughter and indescribable sounds. Hollywood might call it a legendary bromance, but for those who witnessed it in Utah, Horse Whisper Ranch was not just the tranquil retreat of a cinematic icon. It was also where he hid forbidden romances, where embraces and kisses were buried by Hollywood's history but lived on in the memories of unwitting witnesses. In 2021, at the age of 85, Robert Redford stunned fans by putting Horse Whisper Ranch in Utah up for sale, the place long regarded as his private sanctuary for over 2 decades. Nestled in the Charleston Valley at the foot of the Timpanogos Mountains, the sprawling 30-acre ranch was not only where he raised horses and escaped Hollywood, but also where sweet memories were forged. Afternoons when Redford and Paul Newman rode horses, sipped bourbon, and discussed the roles that made them legends. But now, it's all just an echo of a bygone era. Close associates revealed that the decision to sell wasn't merely about finances or age. After Newman and a few other close friends, Redford's secret soulmates, passed away, he began to find Horse Whisper Ranch too empty, too quiet. Every corner of the stables, every trail leading to the hills reminded him of vibrant years of late-night conversations with a man who understood him like no other. Redford himself said in a brief interview, "There are places you can't stay because even breathing there brings back too many memories." In his twilight years, Redford chose to leave the land that had witnessed both his glory and his solitude. For the first time, he focused on family. Old friends say that since leaving Horse Whisper Ranch, Redford seems lighter. Gone is the weathered face of a man fleeing memories. He now smiles more, sometimes mentioning Newman, with a look blending regret and gratitude. Perhaps by selling the land filled with so many memories, Robert Redford chose to close a chapter of his life, a chapter of profound love and secrets only he fully understands. Leaving Utah's wild mountains behind, Robert Redford and his artist wife stepped into a different world, a refined slice of California, infused with the ocean's breath. Tucked away in Tiburon Bay, amidst salty mist and the calls of circling seagulls, the villa they purchased in 2020 for $3.1 million is not an ostentatious mansion, but a sanctuary crafted for tranquility. At just over 200 square meters with 4 bedrooms and a view opening to the vast sea and sky, Tiburon Mansion is like a hidden gem where light, water, and wind compose Redford's own symphony. Each morning, he and his wife Sibyl wake amidst the white mist blanketing Keel Bay. From the wooden balcony where lavender pots emit a gentle fragrance, they quietly watch the sun rise over distant Angel Island. The open space brims with light glass walls reflecting pale blue skies blending with the scent of the sea and the sound of the wind. Redford renovated the house to match his philosophy, not lavish, not ostentatious, just simple enough to honor nature. The south-facing terrace became a private haven where he reads, she paints, and in the afternoons they sit together watching the sunset spill over the water like melting honey. What makes Tiburon special is not its value, but its spirit. It's a quiet declaration of a Redford who, after a lifetime of glory, retains astonishing simplicity. At an age nearing eternity, he chooses sea breezes over camera flashes, silence over applause, as if erasing the boundary between the artist and nature. Yet Redford's journey doesn't end at the sea. In Napa Valley, California's wine country heart, he owns another estate where rows of grapevines stretch to the horizon. Redford's St. Helena estate is likened to a symphony of woodstone and sunlight. The master bedroom's glass walls overlook the vineyard, where dawn's light filters through dewdrops and afternoons bathe the valley in amber hues of sunset. Outside, a pool and winding paths through lavender bushes form a natural maze leading into the forest. Amidst that scenery, Redford built a small studio with a rustic wooden roof, where he writes, she paints, and together they create art that needs no audience. This estate reflects Redford's true essence, elegant yet simple, wealthy yet unassuming, quiet yet brimming with life. At St. Helena, time seems to stand still, only the sound of falling grapes, rustling leaves, and the scent of wine lingering in the air like a melancholic drifting melody. In recent years, the couple moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico, a city of wind, sand, and art. In a house nestled in the sun-drenched desert, they live slowly far from Hollywood. Sibyl runs a contemporary art gallery organizing exhibitions and environmental conservation projects, while Redford quietly tends to plants' rights and occasionally appears at community events as a friendly neighbor, not a cinematic legend. Their Santa Fe home is kept from the media, but those who've visited describe it as filled with light and the scent of cedarwood, its walls adorned with Sibeli's abstract paintings. Everything is so unassumingly simple, yet in that simplicity, one senses the depth of two souls who have touched every pinnacle of human glory. Beyond art, Redford has a lesser-known passion: collecting. He loves vintage cars, particularly Porsche's symbols of speed and freedom. His 1964 Porsche 904 GTS became legendary in auction circles, fetching 1.6 million euros. In the world of watches, Redford is a devotee of the Rolex Submariner, but uniquely, he wears it on his right wrist, a detail watch enthusiasts call a mark of independence. Not just a collector, Redford is a keeper of memories. His private collection includes old film props, vintage posters, and letters from the early days of founding the Sundance Film Festival. Each line, each item, a trace of a golden era he helped shape. Now, with Robert Redford's net worth estimated at around $200 million, he is no longer seen as merely a millionaire, but as a living witness to American cinema. Every check, every piece of land, every collectible is proof of a life tirelessly devoted to art. For Redford, wealth isn't in money. It's in the ability to turn his entire life into a cinematic masterpiece spanning over 6 decades, where he is director, protagonist, and the only audience who truly understands how peaceful the ending will be. Starting as an actor with a modest salary, Redford quickly rose to the ranks of A-list stars. By the late 1960s and 1970s, he was among Hollywood's highest-paid faces. His role in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969, earned him about $750,000, a staggering sum equivalent to over $6.5 million today. Decades later, his star power remained undimmed. For The Last Castle 2001 alone, Redford pocketed $11 million, a testament to his enduring appeal and stature in the industry. Success didn't come solely from being in front of the camera. Stepping behind it, Redford proved himself a master director and producer. His directorial debut, Ordinary People, 1980, won him the Oscar for Best Director, while reaping immense financial returns. Later, works like A River Runs Through It, 1992, and Quiz Show, 1994, further cemented his reputation as a visionary filmmaker who blended art with commerce. Perhaps Redford's greatest financial and cultural achievement is the Sundance Film Festival and Institute. Starting humbly in the early 1980s in Utah as a small gathering of independent filmmakers, Sundance grew into the holy grail of non-Hollywood cinema. Today, it's the world's premier independent film festival, generating millions in revenue from tickets and sponsors, while transforming Park City into a bustling hub of tourism and business each season. For Redford, Sundance was never about wealth, but it provided a steady income, bolstering both his fortune and his legacy as a guardian of free art. In 1981, he founded the Sundance Institute, a nonprofit dedicated to nurturing independent filmmakers. From a small initiative in Utah's mountains, it has become a global launchpad for new talent, enabling thousands of storytellers to share fresh perspectives that might otherwise have been buried under Hollywood's pressures. For Redford, it wasn't just about cinema. It was about democratizing art, breaking monopolies, and paving the way for diversity. That vision extended beyond film. In 2005, Redford and his son James founded the Redford Center, an organization producing films and media projects focused on environmental issues. From climate change to conservation, the Redford Center has used storytelling to awaken awareness and spur action. After James's death in 2020, the center remains steadfast in its mission, a clear testament to the Redford family's legacy. Redford's involvement didn't stop at personal projects. He supported the NRDC Greenpeace and the Wild Horse Sanctuary campaign, leading organizations in ecosystem and wildlife protection. He also backed the Jackie Robinson Foundation, providing scholarships and opportunities for students of color, fostering hope for future leaders. Simultaneously, Redford openly championed Indigenous rights, LGBT rights, and independent arts, using his influence to spotlight issues society often overlooks. To truly understand the man behind Hollywood's glamour, one must look at the life Robert Redford built, beyond the spotlight, a private life full of upheaval, tragedy, and renewal. On August 9, 1958, at age 21, Redford married Lola Van Wagen in Las Vegas. A month later, they held a simple reception at Lola's grandmother's house. Their marriage became the foundation for a family of 4 children. Though it was shadowed from the start, by an indelible loss. Scott Anthony Redford, their firstborn in 1959, died at just 2 months old from sudden infant death syndrome. This loss was a profound shock for Redford and his first wife, Lola Van Wagenen, leaving a lasting mark on how he viewed life and family responsibility. The Redford family remained close for years, though fame's glare and private challenges gradually strained their bond. Their children, Shauna Jean David James and Amy Hart, each carved their own paths in art and social activism, inheriting their father's creative drive. But the weight of loss and Hollywood's pressures ultimately drove Redford and Lola apart. They kept their struggles private so much so that even the press was left puzzled about their marital status for years. In 1982, rumors suggested they had separated. By 1991, Parade magazine still questioned whether they had truly divorced. Time passed, and Redford found a new beginning. In the mid-1990s, he met Sibylle Sagers, a German environmental artist in Utah. Amidst the mountain wilderness, they found harmony in art, environmentalism, and sustainable living. In 1996, Sibylle moved in with him at Sundance, and over a decade later they married in a quiet ceremony in Hamburg, Germany. Unostentatious and unpretentious, Redford's second marriage was the tranquility he craved, stable, creative, and deeply respectful. Shauna Jean Redford, born in 1960, is their eldest surviving child and a talented painter. She studied at the University of Colorado Boulder and later married journalist Eric Schlosser, with whom she has 2 children, Micah and Connor. Both followed family footsteps into art and media, with Micah working in creative fields and Connor in television production. Shauna, with her passion for art, maintains a deep connection to the creative spirit her father passed down. Amy Hart Redford, born in 1970, the youngest daughter, has made her mark in entertainment as an actress, director, and producer. She appeared in notable films and TV shows like Made in Manhattan, Sex and the City, and The Sopranos. Amy studied theater at San Francisco State University and international arts programs, affirming her deep commitment to acting and creativity. Yet tragedy continued to shadow Redford. David James. Jamie Redford, born in 1962, was his second son, a filmmaker and environmental activist. Jamie was known for inspiring documentaries tackling social and environmental issues. His life, however, was fraught with challenges, including 2 liver transplants in 1993, and he ultimately passed away in 2020 from bile duct cancer, leaving behind 2 children, Dylan and Lena, who continue in art and filmmaking. This time, Redford shared little publicly, seeking no sympathy from the public. He quietly transformed his grief into action, continuing to sustain and expand the Redford Center, co-founded with James, focusing on film and environmental causes. For Redford, family was never for display, but a root, a silent strength sustaining him through every storm. On September 16, 2025, Hollywood was steeped in grief as the legendary Robert Redford took his final breath. At 89, he passed away in his sleep, surrounded by his wife, daughters, and a few close friends. His representative confirmed he passed peacefully, but the family declined to disclose the specific cause, asking the public to respect his privacy. For a man who lived discreetly his entire life, Redford chose to depart quietly, no fanfare, no parade of fame, leaving only a silent void in the hearts of his fans. Before his passing, Redford had tied up loose ends. He sold properties in California and Utah, keeping only the Santa Fe home where he and his second wife, artist Sibylle Sagers, spent their final years. His estimated $200 million estate is believed to have been divided among Sibylle and his surviving daughters, Shauna and Amy, as a way to protect the remnants of a family once shattered by tragedy and loss. Redford's refusal to publicize his will's details sparked media frenzy, but those close to him understood this was how he always lived quietly, independently, without needing to explain himself to the world. Many believe he left part of his fortune to the Sundance Institute and conservation projects, a final message about the mission he pursued his entire life, art, and the earth. That day, as the sun faded behind Utah's Timpanogos Mountains, an era of cinema closed, and Robert Redford, a man of freedom, merged forever with the nature he loved so deeply. From Broadway's lights to Hollywood's red carpets to the tranquil ranches of Utah, Robert Redford's life was a journey both radiant and mysterious. He was once American cinema's brightest star, an Oscar-winning director, the founder of the Sundance Film Festival, a symbol of freedom and creativity. But behind his calm exterior was a man always fleeing fame, seeking solitude in Utah's mountains. It was there that Redford lived out his final years far from Hollywood, far from cameras, speaking only to nature, the one thing he believed would never betray him. His legacy transcends awards or box office numbers. It is a life devoted to art, the environment, and human values. But what secrets did he still conceal behind that serenity? Were those isolated Utah ranches truly just retreats? Or did they hide another chapter of his life one only Robert Redford knew? Thank you for joining the story of this enigmatic man. If you want to explore more thrilling hidden corners of Hollywood, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow the next stories.